What is up, everyone? Brandon First, aka First Report, representing the First Off the Bench Podcast Network. Everyone comes off the bench. We are first. Welcome into another edition of the Changeup here on the network. We break down everything Major League Baseball has to offer. When I say we, as always, it's myself and my co-host Bryanna Winner. You can find Bryanna at bwinner12 on Twitter. Bryanna, how you doing today?
There's no point to this winner circle anymore.
Yeah, the winners.
Over. They're
It's
down 9-1 at the bottom of the ninth. There's no. And Trout's not playing.
Yeah, it seemed to be you had it was a very nice month through April and in mid-May that we had a lot of good sunny winter circles, and then it went bad, and it went bad fast. But Bryanna will give us her 10-second recap, or however she wants to do it. Of course, give you the Padres side of things. We have our 3 ups and 2 ups and 3 down. It's getting a little more difficult here towards the end of the year to find some of the ups and downs, but we will start in the American League. And it's the talk of the American League MVP. Now, in normal seasons, when you have a player like Aaron Judge, who, as we record right now, it is 4:15 Pacific time on the 19th of September. He's sitting on 59 home runs. They got about 2 weeks of baseball to play for him to break the American League home run record. I don't think he's going to get that 73 unless he gets rolling. But the American League record, which is still Roger Maris at 61, is very much in his capabilities. He's also flirting with the Triple Crown. Any other year, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's a unanimous pick. However, we have the unicorn named Shohei Ohtani playing in the American League, and
only bright spot.
Yeah, well, yeah, for the Angels, yes. And I guess the question that I think we're all going to have to answer, or well, maybe not all of us, but at least the award voters are going to have to answer, is who is more deserving of the AL MVP? Bryanna, I'm going to give you that question first. It's obviously right in your wheelhouse. AL MVP, who would you pick, Judge or Ohtani?
I don't think you can ever go against Ohtani with what he's done.
Saying.
Like last year, he was amazing. Obviously, this year it's been a little bit more of a struggle. But look, he's still 13-8 with a 2.43 ERA, 196 strikeouts, and a 104 WHIP. Now I'm trying to get to his batting stats. So give me just a second. If it'll
not too many players, you gotta vamp while you pull up his.
If it'll cooperate with me. And then right now, it looks like he's got a. Damn it! Dang it! Nope. Hang on. Like a 213 batting average.
He's got what, at least 30 home runs. I know he was like 4th the other day when I saw like the leaderboard in home runs. Yeah. I agree with you.
That's pitching. Never mind. That's pitching.
Oh. I was gonna say. I was like, man, he's getting 213.
No, it's been a struggle trying to figure out. No, he's got a 266.
There we go. That's better. That's better. Okay. Yeah, that sounds
7 stolen bases, 71 walks because no one wants to pitch against him, 89 RBIs, 34 home runs, 26 doubles, 139 hits, 82 runs, and he's had 522 at-bats this season.
Yeah, Aaron Judge, fantastic season, a historic season, may win Triple Crown. And I would still go with Ohtani. You can't. I almost feel like we need to come up with like a new award, right? Like if Shohei Ohtani checks these boxes, he wins the Ohtani award, and then we'll have like the batter only MVP. Sorry, Ruth. Yeah, Babe Ruth. There you go. Even though Ohtani is, I feel like 10 times better than Ruth ever could have been.
Yes, but I don't think he's going to be able to get an award named after him for a little while.
No, yeah, I think it'll be a bit, but at the same time, it's so.
Why I said Ruth.
Yeah, well, that would be. I mean, I feel like he probably maybe something out there, not on our thing, but it's interesting for me because obviously, wins and losses aren't huge, like they used to be, at least for pitchers. Obviously, wins and losses are all that matter in baseball, but in terms of for pitchers, 13-8. Obviously doesn't scream, fantastic season, but an ERA under 2.5 for somebody who is also hitting 260 plus with 34 home runs. I just break down the award. Most valuable player. I don't think anybody is near Ohtani, even when Ohtani is average both swinging the bat and pitching. I've said that from the beginning.
If it was a few years ago, if it was a few years ago when he was struggling after the surgery, because I know you definitely struggled in 2020. So if it was like right around that time, Judge would be a no-brainer.
Oh yeah. Well,
if he was doing this back then, but
yeah, if
Ohtani is just on a whole other level.
Yeah, he has something that others can't. I mean, you get to the point of, oh wow, those are some great offensive numbers. What are your pitching numbers? And Aaron Judge looks at you, what? And Shohei Ohtani goes, oh, here you go. And you look at it, and his pitching numbers, he's a top 10 Cy Young award getter. He won't win the Cy Young, but he's going to be in the top 10. An ERA under 2.5 on a team, with all due respect to my co-host, that, as you said, really the only bright spot for this team. So
it's pretty much him and Trout when they're not injured.
Yeah, that's pretty much the situation there in Anaheim these days. It's going to be interesting. I think this is the year where we really we get to see how much the award voters strengthen that pitching side of things, because once again, there's a chance Aaron Judge breaks the American League home run record that has stood since 1961, and he wins the Triple Crown, which would be the first since Miguel Cabrera and the fifth ever in the modern era, and still might not win MVP. So we're really going to see how the voters decide to go. I wouldn't be surprised if, Judge gets the nod, only because they go, you know what? More than likely, Ohtani is going to win this award for the next 7 straight years. Judge has had a great year. Let's give it to him now. But at the same time, I don't think Aaron Judge would be too brokenhearted if he finishes second. I think he would understand. At the end of the day, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, which keep your eye on that, because that jackpot continues to go up for him. But Shohei Ohtani from here on out, unless, like I said, he misses a huge chunk of time or doesn't play both sides of the ball, I don't know how anyone takes MVP from him this year included as well. So I think we're pretty much unanimous on this pod that Ohtani still gets the nod, even with the historic season Mr. Judge is on. But we shall see. I think that's at some point. No, that's after the World Series. So plenty of time for the award voters to get their heads together. But second thing we'll be talking about before we dive into the winner's circle. This happened actually, I think 10 days ago. It was on the 9th of September when I actually saw the article, but I figured I'd sneak it in here. Some good news for minor league baseball players. Obviously, this past year, it's been actually the past, let's say 2 or 3 years have been really, really tough on minor league baseball players. Really, they always are. But this year, it seems to have turned in the right direction. Major League Baseball in the collective bargaining agreement pretty much said we are going to, focus, or at least try to focus on minor league players' pay, try and get them above the living wage or the minimum wage for some. Well, this is another step, and it is Major League Baseball Players Association kind of bringing in a minor league baseball union as well. Now, Major League Baseball PA will still be the main thing there, but minor league baseball union will also be working with Major League Baseball. And I think that's key, because a lot of times when we get to these collective bargaining agreements, the concessions that the players make come at the expense of minor league baseball players, because they don't have a seat at the table. Now they do. It might not be, a full seat. They might have to be technically sitting behind Major League Baseball, but they still can at least see the table. I think this is great news going forward. I hope we never have to do another work stoppage or anything like that. But if we do, minor league baseball players will be represented, hopefully to the best of their abilities. Hopefully Major League Baseball Players Union does their part as well to look out for them. But Bryanna, what are your thoughts on minor league baseball getting a union not only put together, but now recognized by both Major League Baseball and the Players Association.
I mean, it's about time. They've been living on, like, pretty much they've been working on minimum wage since who knows how long. And with the inflation rising, with everything, all prices rising, it's a little hard, because I know that there have been stories where minor leaguers are living in their car.
Yep.
And they don't have anywhere to eat because they don't have enough. So this is something that should have been done a while ago.
Agreed. I think everything that's happened in the last 2 years or the last year that's been positive from minor league baseball is a long time coming. And I could be really negative and say, why hasn't this happened earlier? But at the end of the day, it's happening now. For better or worse, this is what we're getting. And for minor league baseball players, because I agree with you. I actually worked at Costco and Sears with 2 minor league baseball players. And yeah, they had to have jobs in the off season. And, I'm not going to sit here and, try and cry poor that guy or poor this guy. But at the end of the day, you can look it up, and being a minor league baseball player is as tough of a grind as you get in sports. I don't think there's anything close. I'm not going to say that for sure, because I don't know every single sport. But in terms of the 4 major sports, baseball, basketball, hockey, football, baseball has by far the toughest grind to get to the top level. And now there is a union, and there's somebody who's watching out for those people, that aren't at the major league level, but still deserve to be, treated with basic human worker rights, at least in this country. So with that, we are going to dive into the winner's circle. I don't know how long we'll be in there, but we are going to head into the winner's circle. Bryanna, the floor is yours.
It's not going to last long. I can tell you that. So including the loss they just had, they are 4-6 in their last 10, 64-83. They moved to third, but are still going to be eliminated. At this point, I'm rooting for the Mariners to beat the Astros, wherever that'll be. But they did just lose 9-1, and I was hoping for a comeback, but it was, like I said earlier, at that moment, it was bottom of the 9th with 1 out. They had runners on base, but they just couldn't do anything, and Trout did not play. So Ohtani went 2 for 4, though.
There you go.
That's it.
All right. That was a little better than I thought. I'm not gonna lie. There was no profanity or anything. No, I'm just kidding. Bryanna never cusses. But now time to not never. I shouldn't say never. There have been a few times, but I'm the one who needs to be thinking. I'm the one who's did Brandon remember this is a family friendly show? But moving on to the Padres side of things, obviously. For the Padres, it's been a bit of a grind over the last month. Still chasing the wild card. They've been, I believe, eliminated from, let me just quote that. No, technically, I believe they are about to be eliminated. But they still technically have a chance at the division, but that probably will end here in the next day or two, with the Dodgers running away with the division. But for the Padres, looking at what they had this past week, they split a little 2-game series with Seattle. A really good pitching performance last Tuesday. They get the shutout. Seattle won the day game 6-1. And then the Padres take 3 out of 4 from Arizona on the weekend. You had Arizona taking game 1 4-0. The Padres continue to struggle against AAA pitchers that get called up late in the season. They get shut out by them, but they fight their way back, win the next 3 games, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday games, 12-3, 2-0, and 6-1. Couple that with a little bit of struggles from the Phillies, and the Padres now find themselves in the second wild card spot, technically the 5 seed. So they would be playing either Atlanta or the Mets. Whoever finishes second in that division will get the top wild card spot, unless something crazy happens in the next 2 weeks. But with that being said, Padres only a half game up on the Phillies. They sit at 81-66. It's going to be tough for this team to, I don't know about tough to get into the playoffs, because at this point it's kind of turned into a 3-team race with the Phillies, Padres, and Brewers fighting for 2 spots. And right now the Padres have, the best out of those 3 teams. So getting to the playoffs will be tough, but I don't think it will be nearly as tough as that first round matchup with the the Braves. Tell you what, if we get the Braves, we're going to be in trouble, at least in my mind. But if we can take on the Mets, I think we have a really good shot in that best of 3. We shall see, though, going forward. Obviously, for the Padres, just get in. At this point, get a ticket to the dance. It doesn't matter who you're dancing with. Just get in the venue and see what happens. Because at the end of the day, with the pitching, and the offense that has struggled but has plenty of talent, this is not a team that you can sleep on. And if they get hot, watch out. But right now, I think Padre fans just kind of tempering their expectations, that probably going to make the playoffs, but it'll be a short little playoff stint. We'll see how that goes. But looking forward for the Padres as I lost the schedule. Here it is. So they have a huge 3-game series this week at home against St. Louis. The final time Albert Pujols will come to San Diego. And then a weekend series on the road in Colorado. Colorado's playing well of late. They're not a very good baseball team, but they always play the Padres tough. And then we'll be looking ahead to next week where they begin the final homestand, which is final 10 games all at home. 3 against the Dodgers, 3 against the White Sox, 3 against the Giants. Make that 9 games. I'm not very good at math. But it's all those games will be at home. All those games will be very important down the stretch. But it's very nice to see the Padres have, 15 games left and have 12 of them at home. So hopefully the crowd will show up, get loud. Hopefully the Dodger fans will stay home next week and let us have the stadium to ourselves. But I highly, highly doubt that. Just make sure you spend lots of money at Petco, please. We need to try and get some into the Juan Soto re-sign coffers. So go buy a few beers, go buy a foam finger, whatever you want. I really don't care. Just spend money in San Diego. But with that being said, it is now time to dive into the 3 ups and 3 downs. Bryanna, do you want to get us started with the ups, or should we start with the downs?
Start with the downs, so the ups are in the middle.
Gotcha. Okay.
Not 2 straight downs.
I gotcha. All right. So we will start with the first down of the week. We are going to be going to the American League East. We're going to be looking at those Tampa Bay Rays. Obviously, the East has been everyone chasing the Yankees, and then seems like second, third, and fourth every time we do a new pod. That's been shuffled yet again. That is the case. Toronto has moved into second place. They are 5.5 games behind the Yankees. Tampa Bay 4-6 in their last 10, although they have won 2 straight, but they are 6 games back of the Yankees. You look at the wild card side of things for those 2 teams. Toronto, is the top wild card. Tampa Bay only a half game behind them as the second wild card. And then you got Seattle as the third wild card, with Baltimore, the White Sox, and Twins behind them. Tampa has just been stuck in that the AL East kind of whirlpool that just seems to be going back and forth. They're we'll end the show, they'll be in third. Next time we talk, they're in second or fourth up to second. It seems to be their case. But for Tampa Bay, they got to just make the playoffs. They're kind of like the Padres right now. Just make the playoffs. Doesn't matter how you get it done. Just get a ticket to the dance. Bryanna, what are your thoughts? Tampa Bay slipping a little bit.
Oh, it doesn't help that they're currently losing to the Astros. So that's going to go down just a little bit more. Thankfully, it's only a 1-0 game, so they should still pull it out. If only they could. At this point, I want them to. But if you look at their schedule, obviously they have to finish out their series with the Astros, and then they've got the Blue Jays, then the Guardians, and then the Astros once again.
Wow.
So it's going to be a rough schedule for Tampa. So, and I'm just going to lead into the up just because we're staying in this division. So the up's going to be Toronto, who obviously 6-4 moved up to second. They don't have a game today, which definitely helps them out a little bit. So if Tampa loses, they're going to be pretty much a full game back. But then obviously the schedule for the Blue Jays is the Phillies, Rays, and then the Yankees, and then the Red Sox.
Ooh,
So both teams have a pretty
tough.
tough schedule ahead of them to end out November, or not November, September. I think I'm in basketball at this point.
That's okay. When I talked about
Basketball, hockey, I think my brain's moved.
when I was talking about the divisions, I have the Monday Night Football game here over my computer, and they showed the Eagles out there, and I almost said NFC East. So we're both a little, scatterbrained. It's September. What can you say? That's why Green Day just wanted to be woken up when September ends. Because
Yeah, at least you're not like what, the AFC South?
yeah, yeah. That's a rough division to be a part of. Go Jaguars, though. Congratulations on your first place. But anyway,
Just anybody getting a win in that division.
yeah, amen. But our second down of the week, I kind of touched on them earlier. This will be going to the NL East. It's the Philadelphia Phillies. Once again, it's kind of hard. We get late in the season to find a lot of movement or these, ups or downs. Phillies 5-5. However, they've lost 4 in a row. They are no longer that second wild card. As I said, the Padres have officially kind of passed them. And I think if you're Milwaukee, you're looking at Philadelphia losing 4 in a row, only 5-5 in their last 10. They might be looking at them going, we can run them down. They are still Milwaukee is still 2 games behind Philadelphia for that last playoff spot. But as I mentioned, Milwaukee 7-3 in their last 10. So they're playing good ball. Philadelphia 5-5. See how that goes. Bryanna, what are your thoughts? Philadelphia struggling a bit. The Phillies struggling.
And their schedule's not going to get any easier.
Oh, there we go.
There's obviously Blue Jays. And then they've got the Braves for 4 games, Cubs, the Nationals. So these next few games are going to be very crucial for them, especially with the Braves.
Yeah, I agree. They have to be looking at that, hoping they get 3 out of 4. I don't know.
And then they finish out the season with the Astros.
Ooh, okay. But see, the big question there is, what will the Astros have to play for? Because
nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Will they still have already clinched home field advantage and all that stuff? Because if they have, I think we'll probably see, it won't be, a whole new lineup with roster limitations, but still, I don't think we'll see the best Astro team late. So hopefully, that's a good news for the Phillies. Not so great for the Brewers and Padres, at least late in the year. But what is our second and final up of the week there, Bryanna?
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Who's 8-2 in their last 10. They've gained some ground on separation between them and the White Sox, which definitely was needed. The White Sox have won 2 straight, but they're still 4 games back. So it definitely works out for Cleveland. So they're most likely going to take the division. Granted, if White Sox can do something about it, but I don't think they will. Well, maybe. They've got the Guardians, then the Tigers, and then the Twins. And then they're in San Diego.
Oh, yeah, that'll be interesting there.
Yeah, this is the White Sox.
Yeah. I think if you're the White Sox, you have to look at that Guardians series, and it's a sweep or bust. If they don't sweep the Guardians, then the Guardians are your AL Central champs. Congratulations to them. And the White Sox probably aren't going to make the playoffs. Let's be honest. We're not getting a wild card team out of the AL Central.
After their series with the White Sox, they've got the Rangers, the Rays, the Royals. So the Guardians schedule toward the end isn't too bad compared to the White Sox. Pretty much they have Kansas City September 30th through the rest of the regular season.
Wow. Oh, yeah. I know that there were, with the schedule and all that stuff, there were a few teams that were playing 6 games to end the season, all in one venue, but it is it's like you said, it's the schedule this year was always a little weird. But that is kind of an odd.
The White Sox need to either beat the Guardians and also let the Rays have a field day with the Guardians.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's going to happen because the White Sox have a much harder schedule going into the end of the season than the Guardians do.
Yeah. They're definitely playing good ball. The Guardians at the right time 8-2 in their last 10, on their way to more than likely winning the AL Central, much to the surprise, I think, of, I know both of us here on the podcast.
Well, the name change worked, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Terry Francona is always just one of those guys, seems to always get the
But they've
most out of his
rebranded
average player.
themselves as
Yeah.
well. So they have a new identity. So they're no longer the Indians. They could be whatever they want to be. And they wanted to start off the Guardians with a fresh start.
It should have been the Spiders, but that's okay. We'll
It
see
really
that.
should have been.
Really should have been the Spiders. But let's see, where are we?
Final down.
Sorry?
Final down.
Final down. Thank you. Sorry, this whole threw me off just because I'm not very smart. Final down of the week is going to be the Seattle Mariners. Once again, not huge movement here. Technically haven't moved, obviously, in the division. And not really in the wild card either. However, they're 4-6 in their last 10. Still have a 4.5 game lead on Baltimore, 5.5 game lead on the White Sox. But that margin for error for Seattle is starting to kind of shrink. 4-6 in your last 10 as we get deep into September and you're trying to hold down a playoff spot. Not ideal, but they do have a good cushion at 4.5 games over Baltimore. Bryanna, what are your thoughts on the team you're living vicariously through in the AL West?
I just really want them to make the playoffs. I don't care what happens. Just make the playoffs.
I agree. I think they have a great chance of, if they do run into the Astros, taking them down, or really anybody. I think the American League is wide open. I know the Yankees have done what the Yankees have done, even with their struggles. The Astros are always there, much to the chagrin of this podcast. And they'll throw in the AL Central team, fill in the blank there. But other than that, I think you can make a case for multiple teams to come out of the American League. Obviously, some are going to be favored more than others. But don't sleep on Seattle. If they get hot at the right time, they have fantastic pitching down the stretch. They have fantastic young talent. If it all gets clicking, watch out. That could be something in the playoffs to keep an eye on. But that is all we have for you here this week as we get closer and closer, about 2 weeks away. I feel like 2 weeks from this exact date will be the final week of the season. We will be here with you throughout all the way to the World Series. Bryanna, final thoughts for this edition of the Changeup?
I'm just going to be looking forward to baseball for the rest of these next few weeks because it's going to be rough out here.
Yeah. It's I agree with you. Sorry?
We're getting into playoff time over here.
Yeah. Oh.
Including state golf, which will be right across the street.
Golf. Bryanna's
which will be right across the street.
Well,
which works out for me in bad weather, but
there you go.
And I just needed them to push just a week.
Yeah, I the one thing I will say about this season is there isn't that cloud over it that last season had. I remember vividly towards, I think, our last podcast that we had in the off season when the lockout actually came across. I just remember saying, enjoy what you had, because we don't know when we'll get baseball again. And we almost didn't get it very much this year. Luckily, everyone figured out how to get on the field and get 162 games in. This year, just enjoy the games, enjoy your team. Obviously, if you're a baseball fan, you don't have to have your team in it to really enjoy it, hopefully. But we're going to see some really good baseball down the stretch and then going into October, and I'm excited for it. It'll be a nice little, the week goes by a little quicker when you have baseball to watch before Sunday kicks in, as we all are kind of in football gear, as I am all eagled out here on a baseball podcast. Yes, I understand that, but the Eagles do play here in about an hour. So, but with that, thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Changeup, presented by the First Off the Bench Podcast Network. Everyone comes off the bench. We are first. It is time for you all to go wash your hands and stop hating everybody. We'll talk to you all very soon. Have a great day. Take care.